Rev up your engines!
Well, you can now buy a car on Amazon. Amazon has gone live in 48 U.S. states selling cars. Now, they're selling Hyundais now, but they say they're going to sell more as time goes on. Only certain areas, you have to check in your own areas, but they're in cities from Atlanta all the way down to Washington, D.C. They're in 48 states. Now, realize one thing. You don't push a button, you got a car, and they bring it to you. It won't fit in a UPS truck anyways, right? What it is it's a cooperation between Amazon and a Hyundai dealers. They show you what's around in your area. You can order it on Amazon, but you're still going to the dealer to pick it up. So as far as I'm concerned, it's basically just another sales technique for Hyundai to sell their cars. Amazon isn't selling you the car. The warranty goes through Hyundai dealership that you pick it up. It's just another advertising way to get people to buy a car. Now, everybody's got to take their cut, right? So if Amazon's taking their cut, hey, the price will probably be on the high side. You're better off going and dealing with a place than doing it online. Oh, look, I did it all online. And I'd look at it and say, yeah, and guess what? You overpaid too. Will they have Cyber Monday and Black Friday week sales of cars where they're 40% off or 50%? I doubt that, you know? I mean, personally, I'd never buy Hyundai anyways, so it wouldn't affect me, but it is online and you can check it out and see. And they do say, though, they don't have one-click shopping for it in case you screw up and push a button and you just bought yourself a Hyundai because you pushed, or maybe your kid got on your phone and pushed the button and bought you a Hyundai. It hasn't gone that far yet. Here we go with more promises of electric batteries for cars that'll revolutionize the world. Okay? And here's what they're saying. 5 million miles. This breakthrough EV battery breaks record range, lasts over 20,000 cycles. Okay. Now, this was a study done at Dalhousie University, which is in Canada, in Nova Scotia. Right? The real university. But realize this is at the research state. They claim there's a new type of lithium-ion battery with a single crystal electrode that can withstand over 20,000 charge-discharge cycles before it hits the 80% capacity shut-off. They want them to keep at least 80% of their power. And they're saying that'd be 1 million miles of driving. It would still have 80% of its power. Okay? Great idea, but they haven't built them for cars yet. And every time they talk about these things and they build one big, usually something breaks, it doesn't work right. Look at Elon with his fancy cylindrical batteries, they're kind of failing. People are claiming all kinds of things. So yeah, 1 million mile battery, theoretically, let's wait until they're actually made, and it's not just some scientists at Dalhousie University studying things. It was an interesting study though, because they used an ultra-bright synchrotron, which can look inside the batteries without having to cut them apart. So while they were studying them, they could analyze them. They didn't have to rip them apart, and then they're no good anymore, and then they have to start with another one. It's very interesting science, but in the real world, I'm not holding my breath for 1 million mile batteries anytime soon. Interesting ideas, but when does it reach us as consumers buying electric cars with such batteries in it? A long time from now, if ever. That's all I gotta say. Well, you might be surprised, but the 2025 Toyota Tacoma is America's last brand new pickup you can buy with a manual transmission. Previously, the Jeep Gladiator was too, but now they're only automatics. The half-ton F-150s, they dropped stick shift years ago, and there hasn't been a manual and a heavy-duty Ram since they got rid of it in 2018. Now the only thing left is the Toyota Tacoma with a manual transmission. It's a 6-speed manual with their 2.4-liter turbo 4-cylinder. And Toyota only offers it on its full crew cab one, so you can't buy the cheap ones with 2 doors. They don't make them with manuals. Now, their engineer, Sheldon Brown, said, hey, it took a long time to make that transmission fit the Turbo 4, because the Turbo 4 was made for automatic transmission, and I guess they still wanted to make it. Now, the list price, when I looked around here locally, it was $38,395 for that. A long cry from the original Toyota pickup trucks that were quite affordable. They're getting more and more expensive as time goes on, but if you want a manual, that's the only thing you can buy brand new in the United States anymore in a regular pickup truck. Well, here's a man who agrees with what I have to say. He says, Quote, never go to this dealership for service. I paid $2,000 to fix my AC and they gave it back and it's still broken. This happens to be a Toyota dealership he went to. John Bryan, who's a mechanic, he had to work on the car after the guy spent all that money at the Toyota dealership, and the guy saying, how come my AC still doesn't work? You know, I spent all this money. Now this mechanic, Bryan, he showed that Toyota dealer charged him $1,914. This new mechanic, he hears a noise, he gets a stethoscope, it's coming from the AC compressor. Well, that's the part that he just had replaced. Obviously, they didn't do it correctly, right? And they obviously didn't road test it. This is the real problem with a lot of places. The mechanics that work at these dealerships are pressured to fix as many cars as they can. Fix them, fix them, fix them. Then they give them another one. Fix them, fix them, fix them, because they're making money for the dealership, right? That's where they make a lot of their profit is in repairs. But back in my day, when I learned from my grandfather, when we're done fixing a car, we go driving around, make sure it was fixed. Guess what? They don't do that anymore at the dealerships. They don't want their precious mechanics who are making the money driving around in a car. So a lot of times they don't even road test them at all, or they get the guy who washes cars, they'll go to McDonald's and get something to eat. I had a customer with one like that. They came back and they said, there's French fries in the back seat. They must have gone to McDonald's. And one of my customers had that, and they blew the speakers. They got the car back, the speakers didn't work. And they just said, oh, it was that way when you brought it in. Well, he knew his speakers weren't working. And a kid that went to McDonald's blasted it and blew the speakers of the car. So probably not that smart of an idea to go someplace where you spend $1,900 to fix your AC, and the part that they said they replaced is making a noise and it's not working right. You need to test things out after you fix them. That's part of the old school mechanic's job. I always have. My grandfather taught me how to do it. Now it's like, fix it, next one, fix it, next one. Do they road test them? No. You gotta road test them. And it's gotta be somebody who understands cars, not the kid who does car washes. He doesn't know much about cars. Hey, it made it there and back. That's good enough. Well, things are so bad in California now that a California college is providing what they call safe overnight parking for homeless students whose home is their car. They live in their car. Long Beach City College allows homeless students to sleep in their cars on campus, even giving them showers and Wi-Fi. But the school doesn't consider it housing. It's kind of like when a big company gets sued and they pay $500 million, but they say, we don't admit any wrongdoings, but here's this. You know, they're not saying these people have a home here now, but they're letting them live there, because I suppose if they said it was their home, they would get rights. They could sue them or something. Who knows what legal nonsense goes on, but it's so bad in California that now students are living in their cars. Interesting enough, the parking lot that they're in is a parking lot next to the college campus safety building, and their benefits include access to restrooms, morning showers, Wi-Fi, referrals to long-term housing, and financial assistance for driver's license, registration, and insurance. So they're helping them get their cars and insure them so they can live in them in a parking lot. Man, how bad is it in California? It's getting to be like the future that people predicted years ago is now the present. Oh, yeah, I live in my car in a parking lot at school, yeah? They let us take showers in the morning, not later today, but in the morning we can take a shower. I guess they don't want us to smell when we go to class, but they don't care if we smell later in the day, right? Lola J says, I have crust on 2 of my spark plugs. I got a 2022 Toyota Tacoma, 64,000 miles. V6 engine. I replaced the spark plugs and found 2 plugs on the driver's side had some crusty white residue on them. But the middle one looked fine. What could cause this? White generally means they're running too hot, they're too lean, and so it makes that white. If they're running rich, they're black. If they're running lean, they're white. Now, it's only 2 on one side and not the other. What's happening is somehow those 2 cylinders were running lean. Now, I would first advise putting some good fuel injector cleaner, because let's say those 2 injectors got a little clogged up, then they won't spray right, they won't have enough fuel, they'll run lean, and away they go. Now, it's generally got to be something with your fuel, because if it was the ignition system, it wouldn't be just 2 of them, especially on a 2022 Tacoma. The ignition coils on those things generally last for decades. That's not a problem they normally have. But let's say you got some weak gas, some crud got through, clogged those injectors. Try some cleaner first. That'd be the first thing that I'd try out, because I'd look at the other side too. You looked at the 3 on one side, look at the 3 on the other, and see, are they all normal except those 2? too? Or are some of those white? And the ones that are white would probably have some kind of a restriction in the fuel system causing it to run lean. Then they burn white. But you'll often get a little crust. But normally, if they look different, you got a problem in the ones that have crust if the others don't have crust at all. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.